Hey everybody, Donnie Eisenhower here. Congratulations on earning your North Carolina real estate license, and now is the time to complete 301. Today, we are focusing on Section 3, Working with Sellers. This video is designed to help you understand the topics most likely that will show up on quizzes and maybe a final exam. So we're focused on the key concepts that repeatedly appear throughout the class. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel below and download the free fill-in-the-blank worksheet from the video description below. Let's jump in. Listing, solicitation, and do not call rules. This is kind of a review because we talked about this in a previous video, but one of the easiest exam questions involve listing solicitations. Remember, never interfere with another broker's listing agreement. If a seller contacts you while they are listed with another broker, you may discuss a future listing after the current agreement expires. But you should never encourage them to terminate their current listing early. Another favorite exam topic is the do not call registry. Remember these numbers. Check the registry every 31 days. If it's an established business relationship, you may continue calling them for up to 18 months. And if they're on the do not call registry and they are a consumer inquiry, then you can call them up to 3 months. These numbers may show up. So when you go to a listing meeting, here are some things to be ready for. Before meeting with the seller, gather the listing agreement, the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure, the RPOADS, the MOGs, lead-based paint form, if it's needed, sample contract, and property information sheet. Now you will want to ask the seller for a deed, a survey, HOA information if there is any, mortgage balance, and covenant and restrictions. Now with the RPOADS and the MOG, this is heavily tested. North Carolina follows a caveat emptor. Remember, it's buyer beware. Sellers are required to complete the Residential Property Owners Association Disclosure Statement, RPOADS, and Mineral, Oil, and Gas Rights, MOG. A seller may choose yes, no, or no representation. But remember, even if the seller chooses no representation, brokers still must disclose all material facts. So here's something to pay attention to. A buyer may rescind the contract if disclosure forms are not delivered or if they are delivered late. That is written into the offer purchase contract. And another favorite is that the MOG form does not allow for any no representation regarding severed mineral rights. Lead-based paint. Very common test question. Lead-based paint requirement applies to homes that were built prior to 1978. The sellers are to provide any known information regarding lead-based paint and copies of reports if they have any. Buyers are entitled to a risk assessment during the due diligence period. And remember, pre-1978 homes equals lead-based paint questions. So when you're there at the listing appointment, you're doing a property walkthrough. The listing agent should always perform a walkthrough, and you're looking for defects. There may be red flags. You're looking for material facts, fixtures, and personal property, explaining those items to the seller, and then also some potential repair issues. If construction or repairs were done without permits, and the sellers won't fix the issue, that becomes a material fact and must be disclosed. And so an exam favorite could be septic permits, determine legal bathroom count. Never advertise more bedrooms than what's on the septic permit. Let's talk a little bit about square footage. Square footage questions may show up frequently on the exam. So remember, you must verify square footage before marketing the property. You cannot rely on tax records or owner statements. You cannot rely on old MLS listings or from previous transactions. Instead, rely on your measurements or other qualified professionals. Residential square footage is measured from exterior measurements. The garage? It's not heating living area. Storage areas? Not heated living areas. Bonus room? They only count if they meet heated living area requirements. So generally, ceilings need to be 7 feet, and with no area below 5 feet counted in square footage. Another favorite is stairways count for both levels, first floor and second floor. Let's talk a little about the difference between a CMA and an appraisal. People often get confused with this. A CMA, it provides a market analysis or a probable sales price. An appraisal determines value or worth, and they use the UR/AR appraisal form. So when choosing comparables, you want to use properties with the fewest adjustments. The adjustment rule: if the comparable is better than the subject property, you subtract from the comparable. If the comparable is inferior than the subject property, then you add to the comparable. So remember, add if it's inferior or subtract if it's superior than the subject property. Let's spend a little bit of moment talking about BPOs, broker price opinions. A BPO may be prepared by any licensed broker, but a broker may not receive compensation for a BPO unless all the requirements are met and you're not a provisional broker. Listing agreements, another major exam topic. A listing agreement, it must be in writing. They must contain a definite beginning date and a definite end date. The signature of all owners are required. And 2 common test traps are automatic extensions. Automatic extensions are not allowed. Disclaimer of liability? No, you cannot disclaim off your liability. And remember the questions that show up over and over. Which listing provides the greatest protection to the broker? The answer would be exclusive right to sell listing. The broker earns a commission if the property sells during the listing period, even if the seller finds the buyer. So let's do some exam rapid fire questions. Remember these: lead-based paint, pre-1978 homes. Buyer receives a 10-day risk assessment period for lead-based paint. You want to verify square footage before advertising. Don't rely on tax records for square feet. Exterior measurements are used. Septic permits control the bedroom count. Add inferior comparables. Subtract inferior comparables. Listing agreements must be in writing. You need signature of all owners. Automatic extensions are prohibited. Exclusive right to sell provides maximum protection for the agent. Y'all, thank you for watching. If this video was helpful for Post 301 Class Section 3, be sure to subscribe to the button below. Think of it like signing an exclusive to sell agreement with this channel. You don't want to miss out on any future videos, and also download the free worksheet from the description below so that you can follow along and prepare for the exam. And as always, I am here to help you from licensing to close.